Hi, I'm Nick Mills with Kartik Shah, a member of the board of directors and co-founder of Oxia Biopharmaceuticals, Inc. Oxia's promising concussion drug, OXE-103, is currently undergoing clinical trials. Last time, Kartik, you told us a little bit about Oxia's work on the concussion drug, OXE-103. Tell me more about the unmet medical need for this drug.
Yeah, that's a good question, Nick. It's actually fairly large. There are CDC reports suggest there are about 3 million concussions or traumatic brain injury patients that present to emergency rooms in the United States every year. Let's just think about that number in context, right? That's roughly what 1% of the U.S. population. That's what's presenting. So there are plenty of other head injuries that go underdiagnosed or do not come directly to an emergency department. Maybe you're seen in a neurology clinic later. While many of these head injuries are mild and may resolve, entirely on their own, a substantial portion of these patients end up with lingering symptoms that can last from weeks to months. And so with these symptoms, there's a constellation of behavioral, emotional, and physical challenges that can impact their daily life, their ability to work, and in some cases, their long-term mental health. And what we've seen as the research has evolved in the concussion space is individuals that may be at risk for serial concussions have now been associated with neurological diseases and deficits that manifest much later in life, such as dementia, such as degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. There isn't a causal relationship just yet, but the association is pretty strong. So the consequences of concussion are rather significant. The unmet need is high because there are no approved FDA treatments, FDA-approved treatments, I should say, for concussion patients. The primary, course of treatment is rest and rehabilitation until symptoms dissipate.
So this drug potentially could have a huge impact on people's lives, of people who are suffering, especially from long-term effects of concussion.
We believe so, yes, we do. We think that there are studies that in the literature that are published that will describe some of the socioeconomic impact of this injury. We think about the impacts in walks of life where we see this. We see head injury in cases associated with domestic violence. We see it in car accidents. We see it in recreational sports. We see it in professional sports. We see it in the military. So there are many important walks of life in which head injury has a significant impact and can be an impairment. And as I said earlier, if you're in a situation where you're at risk for multiple head injuries, the consequences of those injuries can build over time to more degenerative diseases.
Thanks very much, Kartik. And on our next video segment, we will be speaking again with Dr. Michael Wyand about OXE-103 and how it works. I'm Nick Mills.